All right. Thank you very much for joining the deposit and tuition info session, Q&A. I'm gonna dive into the session quickly. Before we begin the session, I want to take this opportunity to acknowledge the land that Toronto Metropolitan University is located at two major locations. One is in downtown Toronto, so we have a campus all around downtown. And then we have a new campus that's in Brampton. It's a medical school. So Toronto is in the dish with one spoon territory. The dish with one spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and the Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. Subsequent indigenous nations and peoples, Europeans, and all newcomers have been invited into this treaty in the spirit of peace, friendship, and respect. Okay, if you are not familiar with the land acknowledgement, if you are outside of Canada, I encourage you to check out the land acknowledgement on our program website and also TMU website in general. Before we begin the session, so just to remind everyone, we are going to post these slides and the recording to the onboarding session, so you will have the information later on. We are going to pause each section and we will have questions and answers, so you can ask questions right away after each section. Don't share your personal information, especially student IDs. So I want to remind you guys of that. All right. Today we're going to cover a lot of information. We're going to go through the tuition deposit. And we're going to talk about how to make a deposit, tuition in general, and how to confirm your payments. We're also going to look at, in general, tuitions and the fees, because later you do need to pay your tuition. And then I'm going to repeat about conditions, TMGSU, that we did in the administrative follow-ups in the last session. And then we're going to look at some dates and orientation since it's approaching just in 3 weeks. Okay. Admission deposit, this information is on your offer of admission letter. That letter you can find under the communications. So when you log into my Service Hub Student Center, you will have the communication section, and that's where you have your offer of admission letter. So this letter has a lot of important information. On the first page, you will have the deposit and then the exact amount and the due date. For the domestic, you have June 14, upcoming June 14 to make a deposit. Full-time students, you have 500. For part-time, it's 250. If you are an international student, the 2,000 deposit is due same time as you accepted the offer. So it's usually 1 month from the offer date. So this information is just a reminder. You have that already. Okay, so important to note why we need to make a deposit. The deposit is non-refundable. It's due by the dates that I just mentioned. It's required to receive your seat in the program. Very important to note, the deposit will be applied towards your tuition. So whatever tuition you have later in September, your tuition will reflect the deposit that you paid now, either is 500, 250, or 2,000. I get a lot of questions about whether you can use your future funding that you have on your offer admission to replace your deposit. The answer is no, you cannot use your deposit. So you do have to pay your deposit by the June 14 or the offer due date for international students. There are a number of ways that you can make a deposit. So depending on whether you're domestic or international, now we can dive into Canadian payments, which is for you are in Canada or you have a Canadian bank. That's where you can make a Canadian payments. Um, so it's very straightforward. There are a number of options. You can make a payments online with your online banking. You can use a on your phone. If you have the banking app, you can also walk into a physical bank and you make a payment with them, or you can use a credit union and you can do that as well. Um, so all those information, by the way, is on the tuition page website, and I have links on the slides so you can access to. And also those information will be posted later on the onboarding website. Um, very straightforward. You can go to your financial institution. Depending on how you would like to pay it, you need to add Toronto Metropolitan University as a payee. Um, and also use your 9 digits TMU student number. This is very important. When you added the payee, when you search for Toronto Metropolitan University, it will come in two forms. It depending on which bank, either is a TD, CIBO, or BMO, or Royal Bank, depending on which bank that you are going to use. It will appear as Toronto Metropolitan University or Toronto Metropolitan University slash TU dash R. And then follow with the directions and you can submit your payment there. And so for the Canadian payments, it's really straightforward and simple. Let's talk about international payments. TMU partner with the 3 providers for international tuition payments. Depending on where you are located at and what option works the best to you, you can make that options once we go over the 3 options. The 3 options, the first one is CIBC International Student Pay. The second one is Convera. The third one is Pay My Tuition International. I do want to mention here, to pay the deposit, you can only use the CIBC International Student Pay and the Convera. Pay My Tuition is only available once your tuition is posted on your student center. So this third option, you can use this one to pay your tuition later. And the first 2 options we are going to go over for the. Sorry, I'm just pausing here to admit some students just joining. All right. For the first option, CIBC International Student Pay, this one is a online platform. You don't need to go to actual CIBC bank branch. You do not need to have a CIBC bank account, so you can use the services. Simply go to their website and follow the instructions. Of course, you need to add your student ID, your name, and your email address and the payment option. So I'm not gonna read the steps here. Once you are on the CIBC International Student Pay, the page will directly direct you in each stage, so you can follow with the steps there. For Here, I just want to remind you, if you choose to pay with credit card or debit card or China Union Pay or ACH, you complete the transactions on the CIBC International Student Pay website. If you choose to pay with a bank wire, you have to go to actually local bank with 72 hours to complete the transfer. And then you need to bring your payment quota from the CIBC International Student Pay portal when you go to your local bank. So this is just an additional step if you choose to pay with the bank wire. Here are some information why you need to choose CIBC. It is easy. You don't need to have a CIBC bank. You just need to go to their website. There are there are so for CIBC International Student Pay is partnered with Toronto Metropolitan University. So you can access competitive exchange rates that is live. So depending on which day, which hour, there you are making the payment. And then there is the direct follow-up that you can follow up with CIBC. You can follow up with their website, and they have a lot of support that you can make a phone call. There are contact information here, different ways that you can make a contact email. You can also track the payments on their website. Usually they are advising you about the 14 days. So depending on where you are located outside of Canada, and depending on which methods you make a payment, so it takes about 7 to 14 days for the university to receive your payment. So you want to follow up right away. Okay, so I went through the CIBC pretty quickly. The information, the detailed steps is on the CIBC website, so you can always follow up through. If you have any questions, you can email the program. The second option is Convera. Convera is another financial institution that this one allows you to pay the Canadian dollar with your local bank or credit card, depending on the where you are from and which currency that you have. Important to note here for the Convera, you cannot make a payment if you are from one of the sanctioned countries. And so if you are in those sanctioned countries, you need to explore other payment options. Or you can use a third party, either a friend, a family, or agent to make a payment on your behalf. Same as the CIBC for the Convera, go to their website and choose a way that you want to pay. Add your information, your 9-digit student number, your name, your email address, and then follow the steps and make your payment. There are a lot of support from Convera as well. You can call them. There's email. They also offer tutorial in your local language, so there are some options here. And so this is a difference if you compare CIBC with Convera. The last option, Pay My Tuition. This one I mentioned earlier, you can only use this one to make a tuition later when your tuition is posted in your student center. So for the deposit, this is not available at the moment. So just take a note of that. Here is a reminder. Depending on which institution and whether you're paying inside of Canada or outside of Canada, it depends on a specific financial institution. For domestic, it usually take about 3, 4, 5 business days for TMU to receive your deposit and post under your student center. For international, it's anywhere it's about 7 to 15 business days. So you want to make deposit ahead, and so your deposit will be received by TMU by June 14 deposit deadline. Okay, I'm gonna pause here and let me know if you have any questions. You can ask questions from the chat, or you can just unmute yourself and ask questions directly. Okay, let me
Hi.
see. Yeah, go ahead.
So question is, so I just submitted my $500 deposit, and
Mm-hmm.
right now I was just checking, and my student account, it says minus $500 credit, which
Mm-hmm.
means that the university has not received it yet, right?
So the universe, that means you have a credit of 500, so it's minus 500, which means we have received your deposit
Oh,
already. So actually I will have that information on the couple slides later. So you will have that information and how to confirm your deposit is received. So your deposit is received, everything is good.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I see a question in the chat. I paid 500 tuition early. Just want to confirm it will be used for that since right now it's under winter tuition. Yes, it will be used for September. When you paid early, it posted under winter. If you paid back then in the winter, once the matriculation happens in early and mid August, you will see that credit posted for September. Good question. Um, all right, I don't see any more questions. If we don't have any questions, I will continue with this session. I don't see, I have a lot of screens on my end. So if I don't see
Can I
you,
can I ask
just,
a question?
yeah, go ahead.
So, thank you for this time. Actually, I wanted to ask you about the international payment for the first deposit.
Okay.
As you mentioned it, the two terms that we can choose for me as a Iranian student, I can I use it or the Iran is part of those sanctioned country.
Iran is one of the sanctioned countries. So you can
Even though my okay, sorry,
yeah,
sorry
go
to
ahead.
cut you, but even though my banking account is from Turkey, is it all still involving that or is
No,
not
it
matter
doesn't.
that?
No, it doesn't involve them if you are making from Turkey.
Hmm. Okay, okay.
Yes.
And
Good.
again, if any circumstances happen for the international student process, I mean the visa, everything, still we cannot refund this $2,000.
When you're so this is for international students. In case of course, we have international students in this session. If you are a international student, you pay the 2,000 deposit. If so, you are in the process of applying for a study permit. If your study permit is refused, you can apply for a deposit refund. So that process is with graduate admissions. You send an email
Okay.
to grad applicants at torontomu.ca. You
Hmm.
attach the IRCC refusal, study permit refusal letter, and you provide your
Okay.
student number, your name, and they will follow up with you. So
Okay.
yes, if it's get refused, yes, you will get the
Yeah.
deposit back.
No, actually, finger crossed. I hope it doesn't happen. But I had to ask. Thanks so much.
Oh yeah, good question. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank
okay. Do I see any? Okay, one more question. What if I'm a Canadian student, but I have American bank accounts? Should I pay my deposit fee using CIBC option? But I have American bank. Yeah, it depends. So if you have a American bank account and you are using that to pay, you can choose one of the options. You can also use a credit union. So it's the same. Depending on, so it doesn't matter your status or whether you are inside Canada or outside Canada, depending on which bank institution or bank accounts that you have. So you can use the CIBC or Canberra. Great questions. Okay, so I'm going to continue with the next one. So this is a question um, Sacha just asked. So how to confirm your payments? Um, so I think by now everyone knows my student service hub. I've been repeating in every email and every session. So you log into my torontomu.ca, my student service hub. And then the first section is a student center, and you will see account summary, like a screenshot here with the minus 500. On the left side, you will see my account, right? There's account inquiry, there's deposit statement. So you can actually, if you want a statement with your student ID, your full name, TMU's name there, you can print a deposit statement if you would like to have that as record. So if you see a minus 500 means we receive your deposit. For international will be a minus 2,000. Okay, so let's talk about a graduate tuition. Your tuition fees are included with, excuse me, tuition and salary fees. So the tuition those fees are, they cover instructional and academic program costs and also the general cost of the university. So it's a little bit different and it's a big chunk of it. When you're, so their second part is salary fees. Those fees, they are included to support the programs. For example, the services, facilities, and outside academic programming. So I'm gonna show you a screenshot. So we are using Fashion MA domestic tuition fee for an example. You will see the fees are divided by 3 terms. So right now on the tuition fees website, we only have current term, which is from fall 2025 last year to spring/summer 2026. Sometime in July, the tuition fees will be updated for the fall 2026. So you will see the exact tuition for the program that you are coming into. So you'll see the fees, for example, for 2025, that is about 4,000. The tuition is actually 3,000. So another 1,000 is other salary fees. For example, academic support, career services, student buildings, campus center. There is one that I want to mention is TMGSU Health and Dental Plan. That is about 770.25. So this is a big portion comprised for the salary fees. And this is only charged in the first term for the fall in each year. And then you will see in the winter and the spring, summer, you won't have that because the health and the dental plan is covered for a year. So it's billed to you in the fall term. When you budget yourself, you want to budget a little bit bigger portion of the fund for your fall. And this winter, spring, you will see it's slightly a little bit less when you compare with fall. Okay, the tuition the fees for each program are divided by a domestic and international on the graduate tuition fees program, so you can always refer back to. I mentioned earlier, the tuition will be posted to your student center sometimes in late July, mid-August, once the matriculation happens. So you will see that under your student center finances section. The tuition fees are billed by 3 terms, 1 academic year, and you only need to pay your tuition in each term. For example, for the September, you only need to pay the fee for September. The fees is due by the end of the first month. So we're talking about September, January, May for the spring, summer. There is a late fee. So late fee will apply automatically. Usually it's on the 3rd day for the second month. So for the September will be the October. So you want to make sure that you pay your tuition fee in the first month. I'm going to talk about how you're going to pay the difference and how you can do a little calculation by yourself, and then you can pay the exact tuition fee that you're owing, since everyone will pay the deposit. So that's either minus 500 or 2,000, and depending on the scholarship that you are going to receive. So the scholarship, you can refer to your offer admission or refer to the letter. If it's the OGS, if it's a SHRC that we emailed you. So we have fundings, TMGF, TMGDA, OGF, OGS, TMGS, or SHRC. Those funding are split in 3 equal installments. And those funding will be deposited to your student center, usually in the 3rd week of each month. So if we are speaking of fall term September, that will be in the 3rd week of September. So you will see 1/3 of the funding will be deposited into your student center. Here we have an example. So we are using Fashion MA again. June 14 deposit 500. If you are a domestic student, you receive a Toronto Metropolitan Graduate Funding, TMGF, 3,000 for the fall 2026 or 2027. Your funding will be split in 3 equal installments. So that will be 1,000 in the first month of each term. You can do a calculation, refer to the tuition page for the program of the program that you are coming into. So for example, it's a 4,000, you can minus 500, and then you are going to receive the 1,000 funding. Then you have about 2,000 to pay. So this is the calculation that you can do by yourself, and you can budget yourself and make the tuition later in September. Here is just a breakdown of the tuition that is billed by the one academic year for the fall, winter, and the spring. An example here. And I mentioned earlier, you want to budget yourself a little bit higher for the fall because it includes the house and dental plan. And the fees will be updated sometime in July, and then will be a little bit increase, but not much increase compared with the fall 2025. Okay, I'm gonna pause here and let me know if you have any questions. There's a question about when will we know if we have received a scholarship? Your scholarship, if it's a TMGF, TMGDA, 2 scholarships, and those scholarships are listed on your offer admission letter. So every student comes to the program, you have a funding, either TMGF or TMGDA. You can refer back to your offer admission letter. For students who were eligible for OGS competition, or the students who applied for SHRC by themselves, for the SHRC applications, you received email confirmation that was sometime, I think that was in early April. For OGS, you received that notification from the program email. That is the mid of May, just last month. So you can refer to the email that we communicate with you for the OGS and the SHRC. If you apply for Bridging Divines, that information comes from Bridging Divine directly. So that also, I believe that results just came in mid and late May, just last month. So those are the different scholarships. Great question. How can we opt out of the house and dental plan? Great question. I actually have that covered. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. Actually, in a couple slides at the end. Are any of the fees plans output audible? Yes. Yes. I'm going to talk about that. Great question. For Media and Design Innovation PhD, when would I know exactly what would be the funds be? The letter I got is pretty. Okay, yes. For the PhD program, this is the only program. The funding is guaranteed. It's 20,000 per academic year. For all the full-time students, including both domestic and international. Your funding package will be confirmed with you sometimes in July. So just next month. The funding will be a combination of the scholarship with a GA or AA assistantships. So for example, it could be 13,000 plus 7,000. Something like that. So just be patient with us, and once it's finalized, we will email you from the PhD email account. Great question. I don't see any more questions, so I'm gonna. Someone raise their
Sorry.
hand. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So there is this award spring that we talked about before, and I
Right.
understand that there are some scholarships as well.
Yes.
And so I don't know how to register for it, and if you do get a scholarship from there, is it like at this point, if you do apply for it, do you get it for fall term or the winter term?
Great questions. For the award spring, this information, the award spring is only, so we will have a separate session dedicated 1 hour to talk about award spring, how you can enroll, how you submit the information. So award spring, so you can only enroll with award spring once you are enrolled in the program in September. So you are not late for anything. This applies to everyone, both domestic and international. So stay tuned for the upcoming onboarding session for the
Okay.
award spring. There are other scholarships, for example, OGS, SHIRK, OGS Shirk, those two. So for the OGS, for the program you are coming in, when you have a second year, for example, Fashion MA, Master of Journalism, um, um, which program, the 2 years, script writing and story design, documentary media, FMA. If you come in, the program has the second year. In your second year, sometime around the end of the February, early March, we will double calculate your community GPA for the last 2 years. If each year you have A minus, in each year, and we will email you to advise you to apply for OGS. Also, for the SHIRK applicants, we will let you know that you can apply for the SHIRK. For the SHIRK, you need to apply directly on their website. That is upcoming December 1st. So when you join the program for the upcoming fall, we will have a session to talk about SHIRK. So that is one of the onboarding session later on. What else I was about to say? There are other funding scholarships on the Yale School of Graduate and Postdoctoral website, YSGPS website. So depending on where you're coming from, your academic backgrounds, your research topic, so you can check out those and let me know if you have any questions. For the Beijing Divines, you can also apply in your second year. So the application deadline, I believe, will be April 1st for master students. 2027 for the PhD, it will be February 1st, I believe. So keep an eye on their website and submit application. We will have one session to talk about all those scholarships that I just mentioned on the sometime July or August. We will talk about that. So I encourage you to attend all the onboarding sessions so you don't miss out the information. Will we be notified by email if we receive scholarship? Okay, I answered that questions already. Okay, so I'm gonna continue with the slides. It's 12:38. Okay, so just want to be mindful of the time. For the conditions I mentioned earlier in our last onboarding session, the conditions that you have is on your offer admission letter. If you haven't checked it out, please do so. If you don't have any conditions, it's usually on the first page, then there's no conditions, great. If you have a conditions, it's usually will list exactly what kind of conditions that you have. Usually it refers to official transcripts. So we have an example here. You need to provide a proof of degree conferral with the last 2 years with a minimum cumulative GPA of a B. So this one is for a student who is currently still studying but will graduate in summer before August. So this is one of the conditions example. Or you will see conditions about official transcripts and also maybe English language proficiency, things like that. Also on below the conditions, you will see how you are going to submit it, follow up with the condition. You can follow up with those documents either electronically if your institution that you graduated from have that option, or you can follow up with a mailed version. So it has to be a sealed version that with the university's stamp, and that by mail directly from the university to the graduate admission. So the address is there. The grad applicants at torontomu.ca. This is the email address that you send the official transcripts or any official conditions that you follow up with the graduate admissions. So a graduate admissions will send a automatic reminder email in late June this month or early July. If by then, if you followed up with your conditions, if you receive this email, that's simply just a reminder. I will talk about in the next slide how you can check it out and follow up with their conditions once they process your conditions. So you do receive a notification and you have that information posted under the Student Center under communications. Very important to note, if you don't follow up with your conditions, graduate admissions will not be able to matriculate you. If they cannot matriculate you, we cannot enroll you. You cannot apply for student ID. You cannot activate your TMU email address. All these things that you must follow up will be kind of like temporarily stop. So if you have already graduated, you can follow up with your conditions right now. If you are still in the process of waiting for your final confirmed official transcripts, follow up with that. If you have any questions about translated official transcript, how you can submit it, or you submit it already when you apply to the program, but you still have that conditions, you can reach out to graduate admissions, grad applicants at torontomu.ca. Always include your full name, your student ID, just send one email. So they will follow up with you and they will advise you what's the next steps. Right now, graduate admissions receive a high value of conditions emails because they oversees all the graduate programs at the TMU. So you do have to wait some time, but they will get back to you based on the order first come, they will get back to your email. Here is the screenshots that I want. Someone just asked questions earlier. When you follow up with your conditions, right? Depending on how the transcripts, for example, you follow up to send it to the graduate admissions, either electronically or by mail. By mail version is a little bit slower. So the transcript will send it to the graduate admission in a central TMU, and then the TMU central mail system will have this mails sent it to the graduate admissions office. So physical office, and then there are some staff there. They will go over the conditions one time each week, and then they will update that information on your student center. So once they input your condition in your student center, and that's where you will receive a notification to your email address and to notify you to check out your condition follow-up status in your student center. So when you log into My Service Hub, and then on this first page student center, you will see the communication on the right side and the lower. You can click view my communications, and then on your communication, you will see something like GS graduate studies conditions clear or conditions pending, something like that. Then you click review, then you will see, congratulations, your condition is cleared. Since like that, that means your condition is clear. So you can actually check here. If there's follow up, it will be here as well. So you can follow up with them. If you have any questions about conditions, reach out to graduate admissions because they oversees all the credentials. They verify the credentials and then they update the information with you. Okay, so I'm gonna pause here to say any questions. Simone, go ahead.
Hi, hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, I just had a quick question about the graduate, like the conditions. If I'm a, if I was a student at TMU for my undergraduate and then applied to a graduate program and I had the condition of like the B, do I have to also physically send in my transcript, or is it because I'm already in the system, will it just clear automatically?
Great question. So if you are TMU graduates, you don't need to request a official transcript to send because you are internal. Graduate missions will check your official transcripts on their end, and they will update automatically. So
Okay, so I
there's nothing follow-up you need to do. You just need to keep eye on your communications to look for that. So have you graduated? I think those are the next 2 weeks of the graduation
yeah.
weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's on the 18th is
18th,
yeah.
yes. So congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
Once once the convocation taking in place, the conferral will appear on your official transcripts. So graduate missions, they are this is on their radar, so they will look and then they will clear one by one. And then once that is done, you will receive a notification graduate from the graduate missions.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Uh, Shana?
Hi, hi, Elaine. My condition is I'm in the Masters of Interior Design program, so I'm supposed to take those couple of those computer courses. So
Mm-hmm.
once those are complete, do I just email the grad applicants and clear the condition, or how does that work? Because that's in August.
Yes, great question. For Master of Interior Design, if you are in the 2 years Master of Interior Design first professional program, if you have the workshop, the 2D and the 3D workshop as prerequisite. Once you finish the prerequisite later in August, um, I will send a final results to graduate missions and will follow up with them to clear your conditions for the 2D and the 3D. So this is only referring to the 2D and the 3D. So no further actions required from your end. But if you have additional conditions, for example, transcripts, confirmed transcripts like that, you do need to follow up separately with those.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Let me just take a double look. What's the name the last scholarship you mentioned? The deadline for PhD student is February 1st. Oh, okay. For the Bridging Divines stipend, the scholarship, for the PhD students, if you want to apply in your second year, third year, fourth year, the application deadline for you guys is a little bit early. I believe it's February 1st, 2027. Right now it's still February 1st, 2026. So keep an eye on the Bridging Divine website and look for the update, the deadline later on for the next year, early next year. So the PhD application is a little bit, deadline is a little bit early than the master degree application. Great questions. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead. It's 12:48. Okay. TMGSU. So some of you guys asked this question twice, I think. So you can opt out of the house and dental plan if you are covered by your spouse or your parents or any other sort of um, insurance, and you can output out. So the process is on the website. The link is here. You will have the slides later. And the deadline is October 3rd. So it's very important to have this deadline in mind because September, when you join the program, lots of it going on. And so if you do have the courage, follow up with the TMGSU. On their website, they have detailed steps. You do need to submit a current insurance that makes sure that you are covered, and so you can they can output out for that. Orientation dates. So Some of you guys already received a orientation GPD meet and greet session with your program. Some of you guys will receive sometime this week or next week from your GPD directly from the program email address. So I encourage you to attend. All of those sessions are virtual to accommodate students who are out of province, not available to attend, and also out of the country. So this is a great opportunity to meet your peers, meet your GPD, ask any questions you have right now. With your GPD, I will be in most of the sessions, and some of the graduate program administrator leads will be in those sessions. And also the session dates will be also posted on the onboarding session later today, tomorrow. For the program specific orientation, that is usually scheduled at the end of the August. So this is a detailed program orientation that is happening physically in the on campus, one of the classrooms. Your GPD will talk about a lot of important information, curriculum, MRP, supervision, internships. So highly encourage you to attend in person. If you are unable, you need to reach out later on, follow up with the email that is sent later on when we have the final schedule. We also have graduate student orientation. That's the general orientation. We have 3 of them. The first one is day 1. This is a general graduate student orientation for university resources that offer to you as a graduate student, a very helpful information. This will be scheduled virtually. The day 2 is the orientation from us, the graduate administration team. So we will talk about enrollments. We will talk about email, activate your email, your student ID, scholarships, any information, any questions that you have for a graduate student. This is administrative orientation, very important to attend as well. This is also virtual. For the third one, it's a social. And this one is, so we have all the students from 11 graduate programs at the creative school. So you guys will get a chance to meet each other, and also GPD will attend the session. So this is a great opportunity to connect and to break the ice and to meet each other in person. For international students, if you have received a study permit already, so you want to plan ahead and to arrive in Toronto a little bit early to join the orientation by the end of the August. Significant dates. If you are applying to come into Toronto, whether you're outside of province or outside of the country, or if you are applying to work or family obligations or visit friends or vacation for future December 2026. This is very important information that you need to look at it. So right now for the significant dates, we only have fall 2025. We will have fall 2026 sometime in July will be published here, so you can refer to. The first day of class is September 8, I believe. So let me look at it. Right. September 8, yes. September 7 is a special holiday in Canada, in Toronto. So the first day is a Tuesday, September 8. Depending on, we're going to share with the finalized schedule sometime in July from the program email. So just be patient with us. Keep an eye on your email address. You will have the schedule for your program. And so you will know your classes, which day the classes are scheduled. We do have a study week. That is a week that you don't have classes, but if you have projects, assignments, or readings from your professors, that's something you will know later. But right now, I just want to let you know we do have a studying week, so you don't need to come to the campus. But you don't have classes. Also, there are critical days here. For example, last day of classes. We usually for graduate degree, PhD programs, we don't have final exams for each class. That's a usual information. But once you attend your class, your professor will let you know. You will have a course outline, all the information there. So once, if you don't have the exam, which means the last day of class you finish, and then you are finished for the whole term, so you can plan for your other activities. So this is the end of the fall. For the winter, so we will have the first day of a winter when you begin the class. So there's about a month time period that is you don't need to come to campus if you don't work on the campus. So you can plan ahead. Okay, so that's the end of the presentation. And those are helpful links. And we have 2 pages, so all the information you can access to. I'm going to stop share so I can see you guys. And then let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Elaine. I have a question. When is and sorry if I missed this, but when is the first day that we'll be able to choose courses?
You don't need to choose your courses. So this applies to everyone. You have required courses. You can refer to the curriculum on your program website. You see the required courses. Those courses are scheduled. Each class will only have 1 section, so you don't need to choose. For enrollments, we enroll on your behalf. You don't enroll. You cannot enroll by yourself. So we will enroll in each class. Sometime in middle of August, once matriculation happen. We can only enroll you after matriculation, and so we will email you with the class schedule, sometimes in July. And for the program, when you have electives, that's where you need to make a selection. And then there's a due date, there's Google form you need to submit. And then we have information about each elective. So you make your selection. And then enrollment will happen in mid and end of the August. And then we will enroll you based on your selection. So very important to follow up with the elective selections for the programs that have electives for the first term. So most programs you have elective for the first term.
Okay.
Great question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. When are we able to access our TMU email? So you can active your TMU email address after matriculation. Matriculation only happens when you clear your condition. So for the students who don't have conditions, or you clear your conditions already, you will be the students, first batch of students that graduate missions will matriculate you. And once after that, you will receive an email, a prompt, and to say activate your email. And that's where you can do that. And then you can apply for your student ID. We will have a upcoming info session to talk about, let me just take a quick look, to talk about how you apply for your ID, active your email, things like that. Onboarding session. So the next onboarding session is Central for Excellence in Learning and Teaching. And then that is June 15. So end of the June 24, we have financing your studies. So on that financing your studies, we will talk about all the scholarships, all the information I just mentioned earlier. Okay, I want to share the onboarding website. Okay. And then course enrollment is in July, July 8. We will talk about course enrollment. We will talk about electives. We will talk about substitutions. We will talk about course audit, all those processes. So you know the deadline, timeline, and the process. And then July 15, we have SHRC and a grant application workshop. So this is the 1 hour session dedicated for the SHRC if you are eligible. So highly encourage you to attend. And then the July 22, we have My Service Hub and other useful tools. So we're talking about My Student Service Hub, talking about different tabs, all those things, where to look for information, and also dive into the email activation, ID, for example. And then the August, we have the student orientation. And then later we have TMU Graduate Student Union. So Graduate Student Union, we will talk about as a part of as a graduate student and the creative school, you are also a your student union is graduate student union, so you're part of them. And you do pay a portion of fees to them, and they have services. They have conference funding, travel funding, they have scholarships, they have jobs, positions, they have events, they have all other great activities. So you want to attend this one later. We will have a comfort date there. What else? And then if you scroll down to the graduate student orientation, we will post more information about what kind of resources we're gonna talk about in the day 1 and administrative orientation day 2, and then we have a social date in day 3, on day 3. Okay, it's 1:02, so I'm a little bit over, but let me see if we have any questions here.
I
Okay,
have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was very lucky to receive the OGS, and I think the OGS covers most of my tuition fee.
Congratulations.
But is there still any fee that I have to pay, and how does it work at the beginning of the semester?
So yes, if you are a domestic, you receive an OGS, and then the fees is covers your tuition. But you still need to pay the deposit, the 500 deposit by the June 14 deadline. So once in end of the September, you will see the fees will reflect on your finance section on your student center, and then there's extra credit, and you can request a refund on the My Service Hub. So there's the steps you just need to follow up, and then you can fill out the information. Either it's a check or either it's a e-transfer deposit to your bank directly. So there are 2 options. You can do that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. I don't see any questions in the chat. If you don't have any questions, I hope I have answered all your questions. So that's a good sign. I look forward to meeting you guys, see you guys in the next session. So next session is the Central for Excellence in Learning and Teaching. So that is June 15. Okay, great. I don't see any questions. So thank you very much for joining the session. By the way, every Tuesday I have admissions Q&A session. You can also join this session if you have any questions come to your mind. You can just drop by. That is on the program website, admissions Q&A 12 p.m. every Tuesday. You can register there and drop in the session anytime every Tuesday. Or if you have any special questions, you can always email the program as well. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Elaine.